That was pretty cool, right? I bet you've never heard that version until Saturday. I'd like to once more just recognize our true mother and everybody who attended this rally and everybody who organized it. Let's just give us all a big round of applause. I have attended a number of these. The first one was a couple of summers ago at Madison Square Garden, and then I also attended one in Los Angeles in April, and then in June went to Las Vegas. And I can really say that this really just topped them all on every aspect of every level. Simple things like just the structure and the flow of it and the songs and the production was amazing. But also, they had amazing singers, and every singer that went up there testified either to True Mother or to this message of unity and peace. And I've often sat towards the back in a lot of these rallies, and in the back you see things that you don't always see in the video or right up front where everybody's really enthusiastic. Sometimes people are falling asleep or things, but not this time. This even up to the very top, little seats high in the rafters where you never even see it in the video. People are standing up and cheering for True Mother and singing the song and dancing, and it was like the whole stadium was really filled with this amazing spirit, and everybody was greeting each other as they went out, even if you didn't know them, even if they're from a different country. It was really beautiful, and I feel like, you've summed it up very well, Pastor Feast, the feeling of unity. And thank you so much for sharing with us. I love your puzzle piece analogy. That's beautiful. So before I go into my message, I have another video to share where we have a lot of videos this Sunday, which is really exciting. But Pastor Mike worked hard to create kind of a summary video of our past year of 2019. Just a lot of pictures from all the different events and activities. And I think it would be really nice to kind of refresh ourselves with our memories. So I'm just going to share this video first with you before we look to the new year.
Your love is like radiant diamonds bursting inside us. We cannot contain. Your love will surely come find us like blazing wildfire, singing your name. God of mercy, sweet love of mine, I have surrendered to your design. May this offering stretch across the skies. These hallelujahs be multiplied. Love is like radiant diamond bursting inside us. We cannot contain. Your love will surely come find us like blazing wildfire, singing your name. God of mercy, May this offering stretch across the sky. These hallelujah be multiplied. God of mercy, sweet love of mine, and I have surrendered to your desire. May this offering stretch across the sky. These hallelujah be multiplied. These hallelujah be multiplied. Like blazing wildfire, singing your name.
This year's felt like 4 seasons of winter, and you'd give anything to feel the sun. Always reaching, always climbing, always second guessing the timing. But God has a plan, a purpose in this. You are His child, and don't you forget. He put that hunger in your heart. He put that fire in your soul. His love is the reason to keep on believing. When you feel like giving up, when you feel like giving in, His love is the reason to keep on believing. If we could pull back the curtain of heaven, we would see His hand on everything. Every hour, every minute, every second, He's always been in it. Don't let a shadow of a doubt take hold. Hold on to what you already know. He put that hunger in your heart. He put that fire in your soul. His love is the reason to keep on believing. When you feel like giving up, when you feel like giving in, His love is the reason to keep on believing. It's the reason, it's the reason, His love is the reason. He's the peace in the madness that you can't explain. He's the hope in the heartbreak, the rest in the suffering. He's closer than the air you breathe, from the start to the end, to the in-between. Don't you dare doubt even for a minute what He started in you, yeah, He's gonna finish. He put that hunger in your heart. He put that fire in your soul. His love is the reason to keep on believing. Just keep on believing. When you feel like giving up, when you feel like giving in, His love is the reason to keep on believing. It's the reason.
Mike was telling me, like, we could have done this for 30 minutes. We could have just filled up so much space with all the pictures and all the things that happened this year. There's so many things that actually didn't even make it into this. I know that Kodan had a lot of events, and all the things that go into Sunday service every week, the music ministry and the Sunday schools. And if some of you are sad because you didn't see pictures, you probably didn't send us pictures. So please send us pictures of everything that you do, and we will be featured. But even beyond that, actually, I feel like a lot of really the more important things aren't things that you capture in pictures. The conversations that you have and the support that we give to each other as families and brothers and sisters, and the transformations that happen in your own heart in a moment that's maybe not part of any of these events. These are all such important parts of our experience in this past year in this community. So thank you all for being here, and thank you for being part of it. So my topic is a vision for our community for 2020. And Happy New Year. I hope that all of you were able to enjoy your Christmas. I hope you were able to spend time with family and friends that might otherwise be hard to do. It's a time of year we can usually make that time. And I hope you had a good start to the new year. If you felt otherwise, that is okay too. I was reflecting on this past year, and I remember at the end of December being so excited for 2019. I was like, I'm going to make all these goals. And then on New Year's Eve, about 2 hours before midnight, I started coming down with this fever, chills, achy, cold. And we were going to be having we spent the last 3 hours of the night here at the church, doing reflections and listening to music and writing determinations, and we were going to do a prayer. And I just wanted to go home and sleep. And I spent the first 3 days of the year basically in bed, and then all the rest of January feeling like I was trying to catch up for the first 3 days that I had missed. And then aside from that, there was a lot of things going on in our family and also in the community. There were difficult situations and things that we wanted to help with, and we didn't feel like we could help with so much, or we couldn't take the burden or pain from other people. And it was actually a really challenging start to the year. But I feel like it's been such a wonderful year. I feel like at least from my experience, it's been a wonderful, wonderful year. And in many ways, I've grown personally. I've found God so much more deeply in my husband and in my children this year. It's brought me to tears just thinking about it. It's been really a beautiful experience personally, but also in our community, watching us grow and just being there for each other through difficulties and good times, and also creating something that we're really proud of here and that we welcome people into. So I've loved 2019, and I'm really excited for 2020. I do feel that I just found this quote, and my sermon is not based around it, but I feel it's a really wonderful quote to share at the beginning of the year, a great way to kind of set our attitude and thinking about what I want, or what I wanted for last year, what didn't happen, or how I felt about it. So let me just share this. This is from our true father, Reverend Moon. Don't allow yourself to be made unhappy by another person. Be determined not to think of things in that way. Always think of yourself as being the cause, not other people. That's also like peace starts with me, right? But always think of yourself as being the cause, not other people. Another thing, even though you may have come into a situation which other people would define as unhappy, you make yourself happy and feel the value of being in that position so that you can be trained to create joy. Isn't that amazing? I feel like you could do a whole weekend seminar on what this means and how to embody that and how to create joy outside of your circumstances. So we'll send this out later, but I've just felt it was a really great quote to share as we begin a year. And we're all coming into this year from different places, right? Some of us might be supercharged and ready to go, and some of us might be like, I just made it, you know? But wherever you're at, that's okay, you know. But we can create our joy, and we can create our experience, and it's not dependent on other people. So I don't know if you did this, but a pretty common way for people to start a new year is to reflect on the past year, and kind of look at the different areas in your life. You're thinking about my family relationships, my work, how are my finances looking, how's my love life doing, how's education, or my garden house, whatever. You know, we look at the different areas of our life, and we kind of think about what we did well in, and we also think about the areas that we feel like maybe need a little bit of improvement. And these areas are usually the areas that our New Year's resolutions come into play with. Because we recognize that we do need balance in our lives. And that even if some things are going really well, there are often some things that we've maybe been neglecting. And we can't feel truly at peace or satisfied when there's something lacking there. So, you know, why do we typically do better in some areas and not in others? I would argue it's not just because we forgot about them. There's usually very specific reasons why we struggle in some areas. It might have to do with difficult relationships in those areas, or maybe that we're lacking confidence or the skills to do well in these areas of education or money, or just that we feel uncomfortable in dealing with. So without making intentional effort to go outside of our comfort zones, or to heal old wounds, or to really get the knowledge and experience and skills that we need to be successful, then we kind of know what the next year is going to look like, right? There's variations, but it might look pretty similar to the last one. So I feel like I do want to give a disclaimer. I know that there's this thing about New Year's resolutions where people make them and they know they're going to break them. There's even a day now where it's like a week after New Year's where you throw your New Year's resolutions out the window, and it's like intentional. But I also think that sometimes we make resolutions based on the kind of like the result that we want, but not the effort that we need to make. Like, my New Year's resolution is to lose weight, is to be 50 pounds lighter. Or my New Year's resolution is to have $20,000 more in my bank account by the end of the year. Or my New Year's resolution is to find the love of my life. But I think that's how we get very quickly and easily discouraged about our New Year's resolutions, instead of focusing on what action will take me to those end results, right? So I do feel New Year's resolutions are important, but the right kind. So we really need to be intentional to make effort in these important areas of lives, recognizing that it might be uncomfortable, recognizing that we might have to learn something new, or we might have to go out of our comfort zone. We might have to deal with some things that we haven't wanted to deal with for a while. But it's really necessary for us to feel at peace, or to get continued inspiration and motivation in our lives. So whatever your goals are for this year, whatever you are thinking about, I personally also hope that it includes God, and that it also includes our larger community of faith and all the people who are sitting in this room right now. You know, I read this little story on Facebook, and I hesitate to share things I find on Facebook because I know it's probably not a true story. However, it is a good analogy, okay? So I read this little story on Facebook, and it's about this man who was feeling a little bit discouraged or jaded, and he just stopped going to church for a while. And one evening, the pastor came to him and knocked on his door. He's like, "Oh, hello, pastor," and he welcomed him in. And they just sat down together by the fire, and the pastor didn't say anything, not a word. And they just watched the fire for a while. And eventually the pastor took a fire poker and he kind of popped a little coal out of the fireplace and onto the hearth. And they just sat in silence and they watched. But as the fire continued to burn brightly, the coal that had been separated started to die out and lose its color and darken. And then eventually the pastor flipped it back into the fire and it came back to life. And then the pastor thanked him for his kind hospitality and started to head out the door. And then the man said, "Thank you, pastor, for your fiery sermon." It's cute, right? So I think it was just somebody who had a really good imagination and made that up. But I do feel like that there's truth to that. And I really hope that as you're thinking about your year and what you want to accomplish and the relationships that you want to have, that you're connected to the fire of our faith and the fire of our friendships and the fire of God dwelling not just in me or not just in God's words, but in all of us, and then we connect to that. So when it comes to our community, we also have goals and a vision that we hope will also support each of you in your own goals in this year, as well as making a difference in a larger scale. A couple of years ago, we created our vision statement, which is at the back of the room, for our church community. And it has different points that cover many different arenas of our life of faith and our purpose as a church community. And just as we need balance in our personal lives, we also need balance in our life of faith and in our community as a whole to be as effective, as impactful as possible. So I looked back at all of our we keep notes and folders of all of our sermon series and all of our PowerPoints, and we create a folder for every year, and every year has a folder for every month, and every month has a folder for every week. And it was really amazing to look back ever since 2014 and think about all these messages that we've given. And I opened a new folder for a new year and a new month and a new week this past week, and that was fun. But it was in July of 2018 when we started really delving into our vision statement, and we created sermon series based on each point in our vision statement, and we just completed it this last fall. So it's something that we've really been focusing on. But now that we've finished all these series and all of our points, should we forget about them and go do something different? No, you don't want to hear the same sermons again, I understand. But what we really want to do is to go to the next level, go to a deeper level, and see continual improvement and forward movement in all these aspects. So I'd like to go over our vision statement again today, since it's the beginning of the year. And in this coming year, we will be just going deeper. We're not going to every week put the visions, the points up on the screen, and we're not going to dissect them all kind of like we did in the past, but we're just going to be doing it differently and hopefully going deeper. We don't even know what that's going to look like yet, but we'll figure it out. But I really think that that's valuable and important. So I'm just saying right now that our goals and vision for the next year is the same goals and vision that we had last year, only better, okay? So our vision statement, reminder, we are a place where people from all walks of life can find love, acceptance, inspiration, guidance, purpose, joy, and fulfillment. We are a church that isn't a church, but a family where the experience of community, love, and God's grace abound. We are Every person growing to spiritual maturity through studying God's word, prayer, making devotions, small groups, and taking on a ministry to care for the needs of and give to others. We are equipping every person for a significant ministry by helping them to discover the gifts and talents that God gave them. We are building God-centered marriages and families that are the dwelling place of God and the cornerstone of a healthy society. And we are sharing with the people of the Denver area truth that has been hidden in the Bible until now, God's original purpose of creation, how humanity fell away from God, and our path to returning to God's ideal and dream. We own a beautiful and modern building that serves as the hub for all of our many family and faith-based activities going on throughout the week. And we are a community that embodies the legacy of living for the sake of others and building the kingdom of heaven here on earth that our founders, Reverend and Mrs. Moon, whom we call the true parents, have passed on to us. I really actually love reading this every time I do. It just is like, yes, that's what I want. That's what we're doing. But I'm going to go back real quick and just kind of share where I feel like we really made progress in this last year. I feel like there are certain areas that we really shone in, and I'm really proud of us with. First is these first two of being a place where people feel at home. They feel like family. They feel welcomed and feel like they want to be a part of it. And this year we just had an unprecedented number of guests, new families, and new members coming. And if you talk to them, they'll all say the same thing. You had me at hello. I just felt like family when I walked in. And I have to give credit to our welcome ministry, but also our renovations team and everybody and each one of you who said hello to each other, and just created this beautiful environment of a spiritual, beautiful environment that people just are attracted to. So that's something that I really felt like was just amazing this year. This one also, we've made a lot of progress in the spiritual growth aspect, and particularly for our new members. We've created kind of a track for people. Up until a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, if somebody came, we're like, hi, you're here? Great. I hope you enjoy service, because that's all we have going on, But we've really created a way for people to learn quickly a little bit about our faith, our past, our purpose, why we're here, and then to study divine principle and go deeper into the Bible, and then and become members and start to actually put into practice things like reading God's words and making conditions. And it's been such an awesome process for, at least I get to see it every other week, so it's been really exciting for me. This coming year, this is where I see us taking a lot of steps for all of us. Not only for our new members, but for all of us to go deeper into God's word and finding what that means in my life and relationships, also in small groups. This past year, we did have a few new small groups start, which is really awesome. But I see this coming more into play in this coming year as we come together to support each other. Let's see. The ministry. I have to give recognition to the people who started small groups and started their own ministries this last year, and I think that will continue more as well. This is another area where I felt like we really shone this past year as well. We had such a fantastic family camp. For all of you who are part of it, you know what I'm talking about, and if you don't, then you got to be there this year, okay? But also just really investing into our youth. We had so many pictures of all the things that we did, not only outings and activities, but we had one-day workshop, really great internal content for our kids, and had evening programs where they could hear testimonies, and also opportunities for service, like doing the Thanksgiving lunch. And also this year, going forward, I feel there's there's going to be other opportunities for us. And we focused a lot on families and children this past year, but Mike and I really feel like we really also want to focus on couples and marriages more this year, and finding ways for us to support each other as couples. And it's a little bit tricky because our couples relationships are pretty intimate, right? And they're not always the things that we share with other people. But I think that if we're in a relationship of trust with other people, there's actually a lot of support to be given and received there too. Oh, you know what's really cool about this year? So I live in the parsonage. I live right next to the church. And out of my kitchen window, I can see the French ministry room, which is on the other side of the cafe here. And I can't tell you how many times I look over in the evening and the lights are on in there. And oh, who's there? And it's not like a program that's happening. It's just somebody's learning divine principle. Reverend Montete and Dr. Hentrick, I think we should all give them a round of applause. I think almost every week, multiple days and multiple nights, even multiple times per day, these reverends were teaching and sharing truth and principle and inspiration with people, with new people, with people who've heard it before, but they just shared and shared and shared. And I feel like when our Mrs. Moon, our true mother, talks about the old days when our faith was just starting, this is what it was like. There was never a dull moment. There was always somebody. The lights were never off at the church. And I just love it when I look over here at 9 o'clock at night and I see lights on. So this is something that was really awesome this year, and I only see happening more and more in the future too. Our renovations, actually this year, compared to previous years, we didn't do a whole lot of actual renovations. We did our fence, we did some improvements inside and outside. But this year, we made the plan for our future renovations, right? For our exterior, and that's going to be starting this coming year. So that's something I really look forward to. Creating an environment that is reflective of the internal environment that we have. I feel like we've really created this beautiful, welcoming atmosphere, and people just feel it when they walk in. And now, people will get to feel it before they walk in. So I'm really excited about that. And then our legacy. And I feel that this is something we really contribute to when we participate in the national events like we did this last week. So I hope that gives a little bit of, at least I'm able to share my perspective on our vision statement and what we've done in this past year, what we hope to do more of, and that will just become more and more clear as time goes by. But we need to continually grow and move forward in all of these areas. This year, especially, I can see we'll be providing many opportunities for spiritual growth, connecting more to God's word and supporting each other. And not just because we like each other, but because we're a channel of God's love and we find God in other people. I have this quote from Hebrews that I wanted to share from you. It's Hebrews 10:24-25, where I feel like if we think about our vision statement, we think about anything that we do in this coming year, this is the kind of attitude that I want to do it with. And let us consider how to stir up one another to love and good works. My uncle always used to say, I'm going to stir the pot. And I don't know if that doesn't ring a bell for any of you guys, but stirring the pot in his mind meant we're going to make a scene. We're going to stir up the bad feelings. We're going to stir up the things that have kind of sunk to the bottom we've forgotten about. We're going to stir the pot. But I love this version better. Let us consider how to stir up one another to love and good works. Let's bring these things out of each other. Not neglecting to meet together, as is the habit of some, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day drawing near. So let us, whatever we're doing and whatever challenges we're facing, let us stir up the goodness in ourselves. And if we're talking with somebody else, let's stir up the goodness in them. Let's stir up goodness and good works. So this year we will be going into the vision statement again, but in different ways and deeper. I can see many more people coming through the doors and finding new life and inspiration. I see a lot of improvements to our building coming, making it as beautiful externally as it is internally. And also, you know, our true parents, true mother and true father, have been talking about the year 2020 for a long time, right? It's been the year that we've been looking forward to for, I don't even remember when they started talking about it. And it's a little bit interesting because I don't know what that means so much. I don't know what that's going to look like. What's going to happen after Foundation Day? A lot of our focus has been on the things leading up to it, all these events and pastors and tribal messiahship. And so after that, then what? I don't know. But what I do know is that as we are growing as a community, and personally in our own lives finding transformation, connecting with each other and growing and developing, that we will be the best poised to support whatever is put in front of us this coming year. So, you know, this year, this 2020, the reason why it's a big year, if you haven't heard a lot about it, the reason why it's forecasted to be a big year is that it would be the 100th year since Reverend Moon's birth. He was born in 1920, and this is going to be 2020, so 100 years since True Father's birth. And also 400 years of Christianity in America. 400 years. So that's a lot happening. And I don't know what it'll look like, but let's support it. Let's support it all. I have one more quote I want to share with you, which I really love. This is from Isaiah 43:18-19. Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland. One thing that True Mother mentioned at least twice in her message. And honestly, I had a hard time with my volume. I had a hard time hearing what she was saying during the speech, but I heard these things twice. And she said, don't look back. Don't look back. This is different. Let's go forward. We are going to go somewhere where humankind has never been before. Don't be like Lot's wife, who looked back because she had attachments, or she was thinking about the way things were, or we think the future is going to be like the way it was. Don't look back. God is doing a new thing, and I truly believe that God wants to do a new thing in each and every one of our lives. I say this often because I'm passionate about it. God did not create us with the expectation that we would stay the way that we are. Even if we feel like we're stuck, even if we feel like, that's it for me, I'm never going to get past this point. I've had my good days, and now I'm just done. Are you laughing because you're resonating with what I'm talking? God would never create children who could not reach their potential. That would be sad. But God, wherever you think you're at, God believes in each and every one of us that we can come closer to Him, that we can more beautifully resonate with God's character and God's spirit and God's heart and see the results of that in our lives. So forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. God's going to do a new thing this year. So with that, please join me in prayer. Heavenly Parent, good morning. Thank you so much for this beautiful Sunday morning, this beautiful new year, this auspicious year of 2020. Heavenly Parent, we don't even know what might come this year. We have plans. We have ideas of things that will probably happen, things that we want to happen, things that we are told will probably happen. But God, we don't really know. But I just pray that we can give our hearts to you, give our hopes to you, take every step with confidence that it's bringing us closer to you, and believe that it will make a difference, and that when we come to the end of this year, we will look back and we will praise you and we will congratulate each other and we will be glad that we had this beginning to our year. Heavenly Parent, please be with us. Please bless each and every person and family here, and those who couldn't be here today. God, be with them and touch their hearts and their lives and give them inspiration for their new year as well. Please be with our true parents, our true father and spirit world, a true mother here on earth as we head towards 2020, that we can really celebrate our true father's birthday well and remember all of our experiences and truths that we've received, and then carry that into our actual life. Heavenly Parent, thank you so much. We want to offer this day to you, this service, and I pray this in my name, Michael and Doña Henschrick, Blessed Central Family. Amen and adieu. Okay, thank you.